Hello, everyone. This is Ian Schreier, Assistant Athletic Director for Sports Information at Adelphi University and a member of the CoSIDA Academic All-America New Media Committee. And it is my esteemed pleasure to be joined by the 2020-2021 CoSIDA Academic All-America Division I Team Member of the Year in the sport of men's soccer, a graduate defender from Missouri State University, Kyle Hiebert. Kyle, first and foremost, congratulations on this prestigious award, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ian. I really appreciate it.
To first give everyone a little background, Missouri State plays in the Missouri Valley Conference, where the Bears captured their first conference championship since 1999 and advanced to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division I College Cup. So, Kyle, to be a part of history in your senior, call it graduate, call it senior year with the program, what did this year, 20 years in the making, mean to you?
It was so sweet. I think back to in the springs, we usually have where the players who have graduated and they're done, and they'll come give a speech, and they would always talk about how, missing out on this Missouri Valley Conference tournament crown is something that, could potentially haunt them. And they would say to us, make sure you do everything you can to capture this. So capturing it means the world for our team right now, for the coaches right now, and the fans right now. And it was just really cool seeing the impact. Guys were getting messages, me included, about what it meant to prior Missouri State men's soccer graduates for us to finally get the monkey off our back in terms of winning that tournament crown. So sweet.
You spoke a little bit about how not to allow that conference championship to get away from you, and especially for you in your final year. The team won their first. You won your first 9 matches of the spring season, 5 of which came by shutout. One of which in the conference championship was a clean sheet and a 1-0 win over Loyola in the Missouri Valley Conference Championship. So, can you tell me, again, to reiterate, you spoke about how not to let that championship escape us. So what made this year different from previous years for you?
That's tough to say. I mean, we definitely always try to defend as a collective, as a unit, and it helps having everyone from our goalkeeper up to our center forward, they're engaged, and, we have a lead and we're going to fight to protect it. We're also going to fight to go forward and be aggressive and have a good offense even late in the game when we have a lead. And a big shout out to Adrian Barosin, freshman defender, scores his first goal of the year with 20 minutes left in the conference tournament game. So it was just cool having a whole season where it seemed like every game someone different was stepping up to play a really, really big and influential role.
Let's talk a little bit about you, Kyle, as a student athlete at Missouri State. You're a 4.0 graduate student pursuing your master's degree in accounting. We had spoke before the interview about how you're entering your final. You'll have one more semester left at Missouri State, and you're originally from north of the border in LaSalle, Manitoba, Canada. So can you tell us a little bit, and tell everyone watching a little bit about where in the province of Manitoba LaSalle is located?
Yeah, LaSalle is just south of Winnipeg, Manitoba. So it's the capital of Manitoba, and it's a big hockey town and hockey city. The Jets just came back 7 or 8 years. It feels more recently. I may be getting it wrong. And so then people talk hockey and love hockey, but there's also this growing soccer population as more and more kids are playing soccer in Canada. And I had the privilege of playing with some great coaches, Eduardo Badescu, Rob Gale growing up. So it's cool to see soccer growing back home, and, especially me having this opportunity here at Missouri State. Hopefully that can continue to help the growth of soccer back home in LaSalle, Canada.
Being a naive individual from the United States, I just assume that every single person that grows up north of the border just wants to lace up a pair of skates and go play hockey. Was there something about soccer that just attracted you to it growing up?
I think I just grew up with a ball at my feet. I just always loved to play from a young age, 3 or 4, just in the backyard. And so I'm not quite sure what it was, but I just remember that was something I had always been doing, and it had always been fun, and I'd always loved doing it and competing. I loved other sports too, but not to the same degree as I love playing soccer.
Oh, you did mention to me you're a big Winnipeg Jets fan, though.
I am a big Winnipeg Jets fan. It's awesome to have them back in Canada, and I actually realized my affinity for them after I moved to the States, and all of a sudden it was like I'm away from my home city. I became a bigger Winnipeg Jets fan in Missouri than I did back when they came to Winnipeg. So it's cool getting to watch and support them from afar.
Go figure. I mean, speaking of coming to the States then, I mean, what attracted you to come to the States, specifically to Missouri State?
The coaching staff was huge in terms of showing they had a desire. They wanted me here, and they were willing to text and email and really show that they were interested in me and just following along. And I saw that it was a program that was on the rise. I saw that they had a great business school, which I knew I wanted to step into business. I wasn't sure exactly where. So, all those dots connected, and that's what led me to Missouri State.
In your time at Missouri State, you've been a three-time All-Missouri Valley, let me repeat that, a three-time All-Missouri Valley Conference player, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year, a three-time Academic All-American, a two-time United Soccer Coaches All-American, and this year, what makes this year different, it was the first time in your career you were named a first-team All-American by the United Soccer Coaches Organization. And then on top of that, you received this award, the CoSIDA Division I Academic All-America Team Member of the Year. Of all men's soccer student athletes surrounding Division I in the country, you were the candidate that was selected for this honor. So what, when you heard about this, what have and will these honors mean to you as you look back on your career?
Well, it's very humbling to have been, selected from a large pool of players across the nation for any of those individual awards. I think of two things specifically. I think of it being an opportunity for myself, but for the university, Missouri State, to put our stamp that, hey, we're one of the top soccer teams in the nation, and hopefully an opportunity to give my, teammates some attention as well. I think a lot of the guys on our team can fly under the radar because it's like I said, it's been different guys stepping up in big moments all throughout the season, and so hopefully people start to recognize that Missouri State is a program that should be paid attention to. Secondly, I think it's a platform for myself where I can talk about my faith in Jesus, where I can try and be a leader and a role model to guys on my team. And hopefully I can have a positive influence on, kids and other fans and people around the Missouri State community.
Well, that's a great response, Kyle. And you have a fan on the other side of this computer, that's for sure. We spoke already about how you are maintaining a 4.0 GPA and how difficult that is to find a way to just continually. And I give student athletes, and I've been doing this 15 years, and I have student athletes. I give student athletes all the credit in the world because somehow you guys always find a way to excel on the field, excel on the classroom. And what for you has been the perfect way of the way you keep that balance?
Well, it's definitely not perfect. I really try and get ahead of stuff, soccer or school, where if you constantly leave stuff towards the last moment, whether it's studying for an exam or preparing for a game, you're always going to find yourself a little bit behind. But if you just focus on the day that you're in, like how can I get ahead of courses? And that's not always been the case for me academically. I recall waking up at 4 a.m. some mornings to study for an exam that day, or and in games falling behind 2-0 and having to come. This was 2019, having to come from behind and win 3-2. So even with all the preparation, there is still sometimes the last minute. Can you pull something out of the bag in terms of with school or with soccer?
There's just never enough time in the day, right?
It sometimes seems like there's never enough time in the day. Exactly. Yeah.
As you look back also on your, on your career, but more specifically how you've managed to stay so successful, who do you credit for instilling the values that have made you so successful as your role models?
My parents, for sure. They were big supporters of me growing up, and they also they worked like crazy and they worked super hard. Both of them do, and that was something that my dad stressed to me. it didn't matter that I came, to college in the States, but whatever it is I wanted to do, it was an expectation that I was going to do my best in that. And another piece they instilled is, being competitive. And so then just being competitive in soccer, but I'm also, I want to be competitive in school, competitive all throughout my life. This idea of, something that we as a family, we're competitive for playing games or whatever it is we're doing. And we enjoy doing that. And that's something that's fun to us.
Were your parents, in your 4 years playing at Missouri State, were your parents always making the trip down from Manitoba to come see you play?
They, especially 2021 was a hard year because of COVID, so the borders closed. So that was something that was different for me because 2019, 2018, 2017, any big games, they would drive down or fly down to come watch me play. And this year, they couldn't come at all. I know that really that hurt them, especially not to be able to come for the NCAA tournament games.
I'm sure.
That was something in 2019 where they're like, we're just going to stay on the road for as long as you guys can keep playing. And we beat Denver, and then we went and lost to Florida. But I know they would have loved to came to the Carolinas with us to watch us play.
Speaking of COVID, there was so much doubt, Kyle, about the future of, or at least the immediate future of college athletics as a result of when were we going to overcome the pandemic, when were things going to return to normal. And on the Division I side, you as a soccer athlete, you may not have gotten to play in your traditional fall season, but you got to play in the spring and play for that, contend and play for that NCAA Division I College Cup. So what did it mean to you to have that final season this spring?
Yeah, we were all glad that they could throw it together. It had been a long time since the end of the fall 2019 to 2021. So it had been over a year since, not just us, but other programs across the country had a real meaningful game. And so I remember our first real meaningful game against Bradley, a 3-0 win. I remember Jesus Barea, a freshman, scoring a goal to kick us off for our season. So I think it was just it was a ton of excitement to be able to play games. And then it was like games every 4 days. So there was no time to breathe or reflect. It was focus on one game. And then after that, we've got another one. So it's awesome. I love playing games in short periods of time. There's nothing really to do besides prepare for the next game. So that's really exciting.
I can only imagine after the better part of 18 months, seeing that first goal go into the back of the net in a 3-0 win, nevertheless. But just to watch that goal, watch that ball just hit the net, there must not have been a better feeling after 18 months of waiting.
I think we saw on the social media they used a picture from that goal for a lot of stuff throughout the year because you can just see like the excitement is written across everyone's face in that photo. You can just see how much it meant to us for Jesus to score that goal to kick us off in that fashion.
As you look back on your career, and again, this is all, it seems like we're just continually looking back, but it's so important because I want to ask, what I'm sure your first game in this spring is got to top that list, but what are some of your favorite memories as you look back on your time with the Missouri State men's soccer program?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm thinking this season had two of the biggest ones. The conference tournament win at home against Loyola Chicago with, some of, the alums in the stands supporting us the whole time and just being able to lift that trophy. The come from behind win against Maryland this year to put Missouri State in the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. And then I'll say one more, and that was our first NCAA win in program history at the end of 2019 at home against Denver. We were playing in practically a monsoon. I remember the rain was just pouring down, and we still had a record-breaking crowd out to support us. So I remember looking up and thinking, wow, that's cool. Because we went in for a weather delay, and when we came back out, all the fans were still, not allowed to come in the stands yet. And the guys kind of looked up and were like, where did all the fans go? But 10, 15 minutes into warming up before we got started, over 1,000 people had piled back into the stands to watch us and support us for that moment.
Wow, that's incredible. It's just the looking back on all those moments and to be a part of it, the exhilaration and just the excitement, and I'm sure the first NCAA tournament win. I'm not trying to say one shadows the other, but I can only imagine after everything that's happened the last 18 months, spring 2021 must have made it that much sweeter.
Yeah, exactly. To not only be delayed for a year, but to, not only do we not lose a step as a program, it feels like we took another step forward. So we were able to stay focused and not get thrown out of rhythm and just keep this program moving forward.
Well, Kyle, I know you have one more semester left at Missouri State, but on behalf of myself, CoSIDA, the Academic All-America New Media Committee, I want to wish you the best of luck and say congratulations again on this honor, and really appreciate you taking some time with us here today.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to interview me, Ian. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020-2021 CoSIDA Academic All-America Team Member of the Year in Division I Men's Soccer from Missouri State University, Kyle Hiebert.